So Wednesday of iPoor, affectionately known as the Matt and Gary Show, was all about overcoming IP objections. So do you find that there are less objections when talking about business protection because people are more prepared in some way to protect their livelihood? And what sort of objections do you face or sort of anticipate when you're having conversations?
So I did watch that episode until I had to jump into a meeting. I think I caught the first half or 75% or whatever. And a lot of what they said rang true with me. So
Right.
the way that we position the policies tries to head off as many possible objections ahead of them
Yeah.
raising their head.
Yeah.
Now, we spoke to a client this morning, for example, and they've been going 3.5 years. We're looking at shareholder, key person, some personal critical illness cover, and some exec IP. And when we delivered that, the objections were for the critical illness cover personally because they're fairly
Okay.
affluent already. Now that wasn't one of the ones that we were going in as you must have. This was that was more of a peripheral conversation. So
Yeah.
actually, that wasn't a true objection because actually I agreed with them. I didn't think they
Yeah.
needed it. They just wanted to see what it cost.
Yeah.
But on the executive income protection, some of them were saying, well, in this group, why do we need so much cover? Because we were looking at the maximum, but they were a rapidly growing company. They're already
Yeah.
worth nearly £9 million in 3 years, four different businesses, a team of 20. And, you know, I didn't even have to say anything at one point because the other
Mm.
business owner was saying to his partner, well, I think we should have these because we're growing so rapidly. We need to cover ourselves for the maximum
Yeah.
because otherwise we're going to potentially penalise ourselves when we're later down the line.
Yeah.
Um, Price is always a consideration, but I don't really see that as a true objection because we give multiple recommendations for each policy. So for this
Right.
one, for example, we did a valuation and then they thought it was more. So we looked at two different levels. Looking at the
Right.
shareholder agreement, there was also a percentage that they would be entitled to buy back, but spouses would be able to retain. So we looked at all of those different variations. So I think
Yeah.
that turns it from a yes or a no conversation into a which one do you want?
Yeah. Options
Um,
instead.
yeah, I think so. And to be honest, just talking to someone like a human, just making sure that you've got their best interests at heart. I had listened to what they'd said
Yeah.
and I delivered a recommendation on what they thought was relevant. And some of the stuff we said actually let's leave,
Yeah.
but they were interested in what we were talking about because it was
Yeah.
pertinent to them.
I guess as well
Espe-
with your process where you've got to know their business, you're going with a personalized recommendation as well. That builds their confidence. They're less likely to object when you're having a conversation that they understand. So
yeah,
it's
you
got to
can't
help.
be. I mean, you can't be. Almost execution only on business protection because every business is different, needs and requirements are different. Even the size, personnel, how far they're into the business, it's impossible to do that. I think, but also some of the objections that are present in personal protection just aren't there for business because if you are paying it from the company through the company, I should say, and you are saving tax,
Yeah.
then that goes a long way into mitigating the "I can't afford it"
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah. Absolutely.